we want to share with you why we are leading something at Omega called Reclaiming Wisdom. And this is a, actually a really good metaphor for why this workshop is needed. So, Jen, tell us what reclaiming wisdom means to you.
Well, and there's a backstory, Tevis, as you're hinting at, which is relevant. But let's get to that in a moment. So what does this mean to me? Why did you and I want to teach on this? Originally, we wanted to call it something different, and words matter. And we originally titled it Radical Sovereignty. So what you were alluding to just now was that as we went through the process of approvals and things like that, that language felt really strong, not to us. However, but I think it's really fascinating to unpack. These are all good words. I love them all. Reclaiming wisdom is what
we
our
love
program
words. In general, we love
do.
words. We are word nerds. Yes, both of us.
But because we're word nerds, I feel like something was shifted from the original choice of the words radical and the word sovereignty. And I think we both want to kind of unpack that today. Like, what do those words mean to us as well?
Yeah.
And what is it about kind of going to the edge with words that provoke something in us and in people and in audiences and in this climate? We were just talking about, in 2020, as a D&I professional, everything kind of exploded, right? And it was wonderful and hard and amazing. But one thing that I always wrestled with was the sensitivity to saying the wrong thing. And unfortunately, we're still living in a world now where there is this pullback from saying the thing, particularly in this political environment, and particularly for institutions, as we're seeing, who want to kind of align with certain things that shall remain nameless, and getting huge blowback and grief from shareholders and stakeholders, et cetera, because there isn't a willingness to be more radical with a small r, radical with a small r, lowercase r, and more sovereign. And I think to be sovereign means that you are choosing your path and you are exercising all of your agency, like remembering all of your agency, remembering that you have that. And, we're teaching this program, obviously, at Omega and touching on this a lot, but I would imagine that people we draw to the program will want to explore their sovereignty. Like, I think that's what you and I do in our friendship and in every conversation we have. What is my sovereignty? And am I exercising it fully? And when it provokes others, what do I do in response to that? And how do I choose it over and over again? But I think we need to kind of feel out to the edges together in community in a class like this to say, where am I not living a sovereign life? Where am I making choices? I don't know whether they're people pleasing or to accommodate or to stay safe or to avoid risk or to not really be fully courageously myself. I mean, these are all kind of both individual choices we make and organizational choices we make to stay safe. And in this world, it can be very tempting to do that because it's a climate of fear.
Okay, so I'm going to take everything that you just said and I'm going to extract it out into some concretes. Okay.
Break it down.
So Jen and I are standing here on this planet going, holy shit, everyone's overwhelmed constantly. And we're bombarded with what is okay and what's not okay. And along the way, our nervous systems are triggered to hell. Our identities are being challenged even as human beings. So we're exhausted. The human algorithms are being manipulated constantly. And we kind of look at each other and we go, what do we need? What do the people around us seem to need, right? And this going from the reactive survival get through the day, whack-a-mole, reprogramming that's happening. To get through that, there is this question, and I'm going to reclaim something right here. I'm going to reclaim the word radical.
Here.
I'm going to reclaim that, because the word radical does not mean extreme. It means from the root. It is from the Latin radis. So from the root, like my book, The Game Changer's Guide to Radical Success, that wasn't about extreme success. That was about a success that is so deeply connected to who you truly are. That is what is radical. And it becomes a radical act to come from that profound rooted self, that profound rooted truth, in a culture that would just as easily have you be a lemming, be in reaction mode, let yourself be programmed to think this way or that way, and to essentially live in fear.
Beautiful. Rooted,
radish, like a radish,
yeah.
a root. So
it's a beautiful word.
Yeah, it's a really amazing word. So, but it's also so key, because when we don't have that connection to our roots, the propensity to live in fear is that much greater. And like, I'm going to call out a couple other things. So the institution Omega was so afraid of the word radical that we got kind of told, well, we've got to dumb this down and make it reclaiming wisdom, right? Which is also a lovely phrase. But I don't know about you guys, man. I want some teeth. I want to stand in who I am. And I want to have that rootedness in who I am, so that the world on fire does not scare me, because I have a flame within. I've got that inside of me. So I am equal to whatever comes my way.
Right. It's the rootedness that, as we're blown around, right, as everything seems to conspire to compel us to forget what we know and forget who we're rooted to, i.e. Mother Earth, and that we are a part of this. Yeah. And rooted with each other in the mycelia under the ground, right? We are connected tree to tree. So, but there's been so many millennia of systems attempting to, of course, overpower us through the forgetting of.
Yeah.
I love reclaiming and I love radical. I mean, I love all of these words, because but how can you reclaim something that you were compelled to forget, that your generation and generations before you, particularly women, were sort of prevented from rooting to and remembering, and had to do it in secret, if you even knew to do it at all.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to try to create as a container when we're all together is a process of rooting and spreading and connecting as we root.
Yeah. And not just talking about it, but actually going out on the earth, right? Not just talking about concepts, but really digging into that felt knowing that carries knowledge that we may not even cognitively have access to. And this thing about fear, like it's really so powerful and so prevalent. And because we have not only become so afraid of the world around us, but we have really become afraid of each other. Like, kind of like you started the conversation with, that coming from the D&I space, that you've learned to be so precise and so cautious about words you use, about choices that you make. Like Jen and I were planning on coming on Friday, and then both of us went, it's Juneteenth. Like, is that a slam against all of our brothers and sisters who have just finally had access to observing their own history publicly, right? And with power and import and support. And so even that, right, becomes a question of how do we encourage ourselves to reclaim our own history and honor it across all these populations, right? How do we do that? So we made the choice not to go live on Friday for a lot of reasons, but largely because we didn't know how to do it in such a way that would be true, that would be radical, that would be rooted in the hugeness of Juneteenth being now challenged.
Right.
Or made less important in the eyes of the national narrative. So all of these things that for any one of us are going on that challenge who we are, if we think we're like a valid expression of history, of beingness. I don't know. Sorry. I just had to.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's true. Everything you say, it's just the wanting to honor the magnitude and the importance of a day like that and not distract from it and really it's sacred. I mean, it is truly, I think our for some of us, our new understanding of what Juneteenth is even, and then its significance and who celebrates it and what happened historically is our history, but it's also a particular community's history. So the delicacy comes from a place of love and reverence and total respect and deeply wanting to do something justice, right? So, and believe me, I, as a consultant in this space, like we did a ton of Juneteenth education programs, my team and I, like as it became acknowledged as a holiday, like in those days, I remember so clearly. I do and I don't actually, because it was kind of a blur. 2020 was a lot, but like what it was so it was an incredible moment. Anyway, we have a lawnmower happening. Hello.
Yeah.
The country, life in the country.
The realities of country living. I'm going to take care of that.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep riffing here with everybody. But yeah, so I guess Tevis and I were wanting all of those complex things at the same time, right? Which is to mark the day, but also to not intrude on the day because of how, I mean, goodness, hard won is not even the word. Unacknowledged, that part of our history, it remains. So, you know, Tevis, I think that but back to your point about kind of being afraid of each other, I think that's a bigger, really important point you make about the climate making us forget that our liberation, sovereignty, wisdom is not an individual pursuit, an act, but it is something that we explore together. You know, and that's what I'm most excited about, to get a group together that's really interested in plumbing that with us. Like, what is wisdom? What is our wisdom? I mean, I kind of ask myself, when am I being wise versus when am I being knowledgeable? I think it's such an interesting binary, right? And I try to notice that in me, because AI is able to bring the knowledge. You know, it is able to fill in all of that information. So I think the pursuit of the definition of wisdom today, what does it look like, sound like? How do we know it when we see it? How do we help each other discover it? And how can we bring it to the fore with sovereignty? You know, because it is radical to bring it to the fore, because wisdom is that intangible knowing that we are constantly talked out of. by everything around us. So
Yeah. It's it's funny too, because you were talking about that fear. I think that fear of each other is predicated on the fear we have of ourselves, because we have not truly, fully, and deeply befriended ourselves. Because when we do that,
mm,
there is such an access to an I amness that has the capacity and the generosity to extend that same grace to everyone else around us.
mm. Yeah, I do think what you're saying is so important, that we hesitate. Well, I see this a lot in all my sort of, you and I are both in these circles of folks who want to give their message or want to write the book or want to give the talk, but they struggle with, who am I? What do I have to contribute? Is it important and does it matter? And I think what you're saying, to befriend yourself, to me means, like, what is my unique contribution? And am I giving myself permission to explore what that is? And am I allowed to do that? And what will people say? And I think there's an element here of, particularly for those of us who've been underrepresented in
Yeah.
systems, lack of role models, lack of encouragement, um, a fear of, being rejected. If we stand out too much, if we have too much radical sovereignty, what
Mhm.
happens to us in terms of belonging, in terms of the communities we're a part of. So, I mean, this is so layered, but finding your voice, which obviously is a hugely powerful metaphor for any of you that know me, of course, it meant standing out on stage, putting myself out there on stage, stating my point of view loudly, and opening myself up to, like, here's who I am. I'm vulnerable here, and trusting others with my truth, and sort of giving somebody this baby bird, to say, like, can you hold this for me? Um, so fear of ourselves, befriending ourselves, celebrating ourselves. This is our wisdom. Saying you're wise. It's such a radical act to say, like, I am wise. I may not be able to see my wisdom yet, or maybe others can see it and I need help, but I am wise. I am wise. And so our title of our program is Reclaiming Wisdom. Did you ever claim it? Like, were we ever allowed to claim it? Did I give myself permission to be, someone who others look to for answers and guidance and shining a light? Is that okay with me? How do I feel about that? And I think um, it's such a lost, to not do that is, to me, unacceptable. Because the world desperately needs all of our wisdom right now. We need all of us deeply exploring that and bringing it to the fore with sovereignty, because we need all the thinking, all the heart, all the things we kind of know in our bones. This will be so important to sort of guide this world. And so each of us brings something really important to the party. But if a generation of us, or an identity within us, has been told over and over again that you aren't sovereign, that it is scary to be radical, that you aren't wise, that we don't even know what wisdom is, if we don't know what we lost in order to reclaim it. I think what I'm kind of describing, I mean, it's in my experience as a woman in this world, for sure. And as somebody in the LGBTQ community, it's very, very resonant for me. And I see people struggle with it constantly. So we've just got to get on this. And I think this thing that you and I are designing is meant to leave folks with, like, I can do this. I have some things to start with. I have more confidence. I'm going to be more fearless, and I'm needed. I am needed.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
needed. And you are needed. And I think you and I have felt what it's like to be needed, and that's why we continue to kind of work the way we do. But
Yeah.
it's not a common, to get to that point is not a common experience, I think.
Yeah. Well, but the piece that I think is so key about stepping into that type of a relationship with yourself so you can extend that relationship to others, the one of grace, the one of wisdom, the one of um, mutual validity, right? Just kind of across the board. Um, it all, in my mind, it really comes down to the whole, right? Because we think of wisdom and we think of it as a platitude, or like be the change you wish to see, or like all these things. But those that is not what gives us our wisdom. What gives us our wisdom is our shadow. All the ways, all the ways in which we have fallen down, all the ways in which we have had our asses handed to us, all the ways in which we are being challenged currently, in which all the really icky feelings come up. So when you hear "be the change," what you don't hear is that Gandhi's actually saying, "This is really bad, folks." Like what was going on in India that he was fighting against, post-colonialism and modern neo-colonialism, you could even call it. Like he was pointing to the light that would move you through, right? But the power of arriving at that light, that reaching, that aspiring, it comes from the mud, right? It comes from the lotus comes through the mud, right? It's not coming through your vacuumed carpet, right? It's not coming from your perfectly polished, LEED certified concrete floor in your loft apartment or whatever. Like it's coming from the ugly. So the question I always have is, if I'm, as you pointed out, for me to love this baby bird of myself, and for me to be able to hand it there, I've got to know its strength. And that means I have to know what it's afraid of, right? I have to know where it caves inward. So that's kind of multi-layeredness of getting back to radical, of reclaiming sovereignty. And maybe that would have been the best title, Reclaiming Sovereignty.
A hybrid. It's a hybrid.
Yeah, we're gonna hybridize it. But so these are not skills that we are taught growing up. And if we are taught them growing up, a lot of times we're taught to be afraid of them, and we're taught to set them aside in favor of conformity and survival, right? So yeah, so Jen and I are gonna be good mama birds.
Oh, and bring our baby bird self to
Yeah.
it. Like you just said, the wisdom comes from the pain of it not going well, and the pain of the loss, and the pain of the grief. And like I feel I've sort of been on hyperdrive towards wisdom with all the loss that I've experienced the last year or two, just losing the field I've loved for so long, and the work that I've loved so long, that gave me what I thought was an identity, interestingly. But there's such to be in the rubble of what used to be, and asking the questions from the rubble. The questions are completely different now that are coming out of me. Like they're just very different. They're muddy.
Yeah.
They're real, they're muddy, they're messy, they're dirty, they're like confusing. But boy, does it resonate with people, because they are similarly in the same spot. And I think that invitation we can make to each other to say, here's the most unfigureoutable piece, and the most disconcerting, and the thing I'm ruminate about, and the thing that keeps me pulling me back into the mud. I love what you said. The shadow gives us our wisdom. I was like, now that I look back, I was the knowledgeable expert, and my endeavor over the last many decades was actually to be considered the expert. And I'm welcoming this moment so much, this phase in my life, because it's more than a moment, of coming from a very different place. And that place is my attempt to speak from something that's deeper than
Mm.
what's in here and what I've accumulated here. Like trying, but it's like unlearning and there's a lot of here, right? Relearning, re-speaking, re-articulating. Let me, if I could describe it, it's like, let me come from a different place in myself, in my instrument. Let me answer that from a different place. Let me bring a different part of me to the light. Like, let me, and let me practice this. And I think you and I will create a container to practice that, like in a re-articulation of the self. And you add in, life changes and midlife, for example, which is largely the population of Omega goers. These questions emerge whether you like it or not.
Mm.
So I think what we want to explore is, what am I doing with these questions that are coming up? Where are they coming from? What is this like shadow that wants to come through, I think, and be talked about and be discussed and sort of inform how we act in the world and how we're of service and who we're of service to. Because
yes. I agree so much. And to go back to all the metaphors that we've pulled in, right? The Juneteenth, that's reclaiming history.
yeah,
Like a huge,
hell yeah,
ugly shadow, right? Or the word radical, right? Oh my God, it's too expressive. Don't get too loud in there. Like there's a saying in the South, don't get all excited, right? I know my friend Justin's on right now. Hi, Jess. But it really is all of that. And by being able to step into it, and show it.
There you go. What do you think?
There you go. Look, Mom, I made it. Right? Look what I drew. Right?
Look what I drew.
What? Seriously? Like think about that. So I just had to get a new bookshelf for my my office here, and it gave me occasion to pull out all the little notebooks that I've been jotting in since 2014, right? Or 2007, like even further back. So this is like 20 years of hang on. 20 years of these and moleskin and some of them have great like journal entries, just like musing and reflecting on the world, and some of them is like ex-client wants da da da, and Fred, CRHRO, is really not liked by so the reason I bring this up is when I started to look at it this weekend instead of gardening, even though it was gorgeous outside, something in me was like, look at those. Look at all the dumb profitability analysis. Flip to the journal entry that you swear the porter at the airport in Atlanta was Jesus. Right?
Wow.
That's a longer story.
These are more interesting than mine.
so this weird, like kaleidoscopic experience of myself and backing off from them and saying, what is the overarching narrative? What are like you were saying, that this conversation is so resonant as you go through your professional things you're doing, and people are all kind of, and you're asking yourself, what's a new question? What's a new part of myself I can bring alive in this? I'm just saying, I'm doing that by looking at my own journals and professional notebooks, because a lot of them are mixed in. And one of the things I'm going to say, and this is not to sound negative, right? This is to sound honest. I am haunted by the same things today that I
Mhm.
was haunted by when I started the company in 2001, that I was haunted by as a 17-year-old on a service project in Nicaragua with a bunch of Russians. That's a different story. Um, like, like these questions don't shift. And they come from the longing for light, right? The questions that keep us awake are always coming from, how do I reach into
Mm.
the light, right? And so to me, what we're gonna be doing in reclaiming wisdom
Yes.
or radical sovereignty or
It's like,
whatever you wanna call it, it is helping to really honor that hunger and reaching for the light and asking ourselves, who is it in you that is doing that reaching? Who
Mhm.
is asking those questions? What what is that being, that baby bird, right? So that you can love it up so profoundly and
Hmm.
act from the wisdom that it's got there to offer up to you.
Beautiful. It's always been there. It's just hiding in the pages.
Girl.
I know. I know. I've got so many of those. And you know what strikes me is just the work that you and I have done, and anybody who's in a supporting role, like as a whatever it is, consultant or is we're loving on the people that we support. I mean, every like detailed note I took about somebody's life and who they liked and what the dynamics are. And it was all in service of wanting to elevate or change something for someone who is asking me for help to change and to grow and to evolve. And it was such heady, it was such an amazing, like not head, just heady. It was so wonderful. It felt so good to feel I could help and be needed and care. It's really caring. I mean, you filled notebook after notebook because you cared. Um,
God.
so, you know, but what does it tell you about the person taking all those notes and the person filling all those notebooks and the person that, you know, there's some people, Tevis, that don't take any notes. Like there's some people who don't care enough to kind of really be present to a situation and write down all the little details about what's important to somebody. Oh, oh,
Or randomly draw,
or
just
random. Yes, yes. Just to so anyway, it's all there, but we have not made space in our, I think, our day-to-day lives. And also we haven't made it about us. I think we've made it about a lot of other people and making sure they get where they are going. That's what I think I was accumulating all those years.
yeah.
So it's a switch that happens in your life, again, like with time, where the self becomes this like noisy knocking at the door, the baby bird wanting to be fed. Feed me, see me, take care of me, because I've been doing so much. And this is, I think, what emerges. So this is the era of the wisdom, and it is the era of sovereignty to grasp it, to say, I'm going to fly and I'm going to fly on my own accord. And I'm done. I've learned all those things about others and taking endless notes on everybody else's lives. I mean, reams.
They're all over my floor right now. I get it.
And it you know, so anyway, this is time for us. It's time for us to rise. And we've done all that for a reason. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't useless. It was certainly like deepens you as a human being, but at some point it's inevitable to say, but who am I going to be and what is my legacy going to be? Like if what have I yet to do? And what have I yet to say? And what have I yet to bring? And
Mhm,
is it and do I have yes, do we have everything you need in you to do that? Yes. And it
mhm,
probably goes back to your younger self. It probably goes back to it's always been there, but
mhm,
it wasn't the emphasis and it wasn't allowed and we didn't have permission. We didn't think we had permission. You know, when you work for yourself, you have to do this. Like you literally have to cope and grapple with I have to be out there and have a point of view. I have to, you know, put myself out there every single day. But I still think that there's remaining work to be done for all of us, still, that might be our most important work yet,
mm.
you know?
From your mouth to God's ears.
Right? Here we go. Anyway.
Well, the other cool thing about going through notebook after notebook after notebook is you stumble on cool random things you've stuck in between the pages.
Yeah.
And one of them I think is a good kind of a closing note. Although I do want to talk to you about the article in the New York Times today about why people really insist on their employees coming back to the office. Drum roll, please. You read the article, right?
Not, but I can guess what's in it.
Okay, guess. Guess. What is the real constant characteristic of people insisting on getting people back into the office?
Real estate justification and control. And it's, I think it's, is it not that? Is there something, no new
narcissism?
Yeah. Company.
You can't feel worshipped.
Oh God.
A screen when you're square on the Zoom thing. Your face is the same as everyone else. It's harder to have your ass kissed over Zoom, right?
Evil.
Like literally.
Literally.
Surprising no one. Thanks, Adam Grant. But what I do think was cool, the article was co-authored by 2 PhD candidates at the University of Pennsylvania, and I imagined he extended a little bit of his fame halo to have that come out with them, which is a great place to publish an article.
Yeah, look at that.
Right.
Narcissism of being adored. Ooh,
it's so gross.
As if we need.
But that's someone who has never made peace with their shadow. They have never made peace with their baby bird.
Yeah.
Right.
Boy,
okay.
Anyway, secret. What was? Yes, it's a poem.
It's a quote. Everyone knows this one, but it just never gets old.
Read it.
Have patience with everything in your heart and try to love the questions themselves. Do not search for the answers which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. Perhaps then, someday in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answers.
Oh. Of course, it's real good. That's beautiful. Whoa!
I just want to eat it. I'm gonna put it in me.
Oh, good. Rub it all over. Whoa. and with that, stunning not call to action. It's a call to be present and be patient.
And like, look. Yeah, patience. Love the questions themselves. The question, it's so funny because they say it's not the answer that enlightens, it's the question. But the question is bred by the contrast, by the longing for insight, by the longing for resolution. Oh, we could go on forever. Come in October, you people.
Seriously, this is so good. It's so good. I'm so excited.
Okay. Jen, love you. I hope your Monday is beautiful. I've gotten so many curveballs today that are just no fun. I'm singing the Boomtown Rats in my head. I don't like Mondays.
Oh God. Yeah, it's an intense one. Year. But thank you for this. I feel so inspired. I took a bunch of notes. I have a little impromptu notebook.
I love. I have a lot of backs of envelopes that happen to be on my desk from bills I have to pay that still come in paper, and they turn into my yeah.
So anyway, thank you for your gifts today to me.
Oh, thank you.
I feel nourished. I'm the baby bird who's been fed today.
Thank you for your baby bird.
Yes. More to come, everybody. We'll see you again on Substack.
Bye, y'all.